7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hello, and welcome to Depraved Indifference to Intelligent Life, my weekly little vlog thing that I do here. And today I would like to talk to you all about fandoms, specifically toxic fandoms. There have been a number of stories over this past year and things that I have heard in previous years about fandoms in specific places. One of which the most prevalent stories abound about are the specific fandom in and around My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, otherwise known as the quote-unquote bronies. That there have been many issues with them over the years, with harassment and other types of unwanted advances and whatnot at conventions. One in particular I heard about at a convention where a large number of them gathered together and wandered around pawing at people. There has been, I remember hearing in the news, some of the news sites that I poke around at now and then, of members of the Steven Universe fandom, I believe. Now, I know a little bit about Steven Universe, not a lot, a little, that there was harassment and whatnot that ended up driving somebody else that was a fan of the show to take their own life. There was the whole Rick and Morty fandom incident when McDonald's recently did the whole Szechuan sauce at theirs for a limited time only, and it was a very small amount of it that they did, and people lost their shit over this because they sold out very quickly, or some places didn't even have it to begin with, and a whole bunch of fans basically threw a tantrum. Somebody physically attacked a McDonald's employee, I believe, possibly more than one. They basically almost rioted because of a dipping sauce for Chicken McNuggets. Something that wasn't even connected to Rick and Morty, the show, but these fans of the show took it upon themselves to do this. And that happened. And then there's also the other thing that I heard about very recently. It was just after Desert Bus for Hope finished this year, that one of the members of the Loading Ready Run crew, a couple of them actually, was posting on Twitter. I follow them, and there was mention from them. I found out by doing a little digging after the fact, but the Magic community going on apparently has completely pushed out a young woman that was a big part of the community, did cosplays of characters from Magic the Gathering, played Magic the Gathering, and was generally, an all-around good person. And others of it just kind of attacked and harassed, and over the years, basically, it all built up and pushed people out. And these things, this sort of behavior, it has never sat well with me, because I tend to be the sort of person that will give people the benefit of the doubt and respect from the get-go. I don't immediately think, well, you're a bad person. No, I don't. I give you respect that I think any perfect stranger is due to me. And if they abuse that, if they are a dick and whatnot, well, then you basically lose that from me pretty quick. and I will generally have nothing to do with you. Uh, but this sort of behavior is something that it's it's not kosher. It's not good overall because of the main fact. Like a prime example, Rick and Morty. Like I've heard from a few friends who have watched Rick and Morty. They say it's a really good show. It's really funny. It's the sort of thing that I would enjoy. And I have been interested in checking it out. But when I hear that other people that like this show are doing stuff like that, attacking people for no reason at all, this is the sort of thing that rubs me the wrong way. And I'm just like, why do I want to get involved in that? Why do I want to be even associate myself with those people? Why do I want to watch this show? Maybe something in this show is pushing them to do stuff like this. Not that I'm into conspiracy theories or anything, but it's just the sort of thing. People people like what they like, and if a show is particularly irreverent or particularly sarcastic or doesn't hold any respect, like South Park, for example, is one that's very, very irreverent. Not that I've heard anything about the South Park community, fandom, and whatnot, but it tends to be fairly irreverent in the humor. And people that like this sort of humor, this sort of irreverence, tend to pick up on it and tend to alter their behavior in order to more align with what they like of the show. I've seen it happen over the years, um, and it's the sort of thing people adapt and adopt uh, mannerisms and catchphrases and whatnot from shows they like. And see, I see stuff like that. I've heard about the bronies over the years, and it's kind of kept me at arm's distance from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Not that I was particularly interested in watching it in the first place, but it still looked interesting enough for me to maybe poke at. And then you hear about stuff like that, and you're like, maybe not, maybe not. So I don't. It's one of those things that I think there needs to be discussion about. Um, personally, personally, as somebody that is a fan of things, uh, I find the fact that this sort of behavior reflects negatively not just on the people doing it, but on anyone else who considers himself a fan of the same thing. Because when you're talking to somebody who doesn't know you, if you're at a convention, if you're somewhere else, and you're like, oh yeah, I really like all these shows, blah, 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 blah. I'm a fan of this one. Like you say, I'm a fan of Rick and Morty, and people are like, are they one of those guys that went all nuts because there was no Szechuan sauce? It will be there in their mind. And this is the problem. And I know a large part of this uh, stems from one simple fact, I find. Some of it may actually be because the people involved have mental issues that they need to deal with. Absolutely, and if they do, I hope they get the help that they need. But I'm almost positive a large part of the reason why a lot of a lot of fandoms in recent years have had a negative connotation to them, have had this toxicity built up. Um, I've seen it in video games. I've seen it with the DC movies uh, that have been coming up. There's been a lot of this stuff building over the last 5, 10 years, slowly. It's becoming a lot more prominent over the last 5 years, I've found. And I think the main reason is due to a sense of entitlement that they have. And I'm just going to kind of end this little video just by saying one thing to everyone out there that is a member of these type of fandoms and are the sort of people that I'm talking about, that feel that they are entitled, like the Rick and Morty people, as I mentioned, that they were so angry that they couldn't get the Szechuan sauce that they wanted. They were entitled, they thought, to get it because they were fans of the show. No, you're not. You are entitled to absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. The world, the universe, the people that make the show that you enjoy, you're not entitled to anything from any of them. Period. Reason being is that you have to earn what you get in life. Nothing is handed to you. And if it is handed to you, it's because somebody else wants to. They want to do something for you. Maybe it's because it's your parents that want to make sure that you are looked after and cared for. Maybe it's your friends because you're good friends with them. They want to do something. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. But when it comes to this sort of thing, this fandom entitlement that's out there, that people think that they are entitled to get what they want simply because they are a fan of something, that does not work that way. There may be rare cases where a large group of fans get together all making the same suggestion, doing a bit of a petition or a campaign, or so many people have written in letters saying, we want to do this, that the developers of whatever video game or whatever story are like, that sounds like a cool idea, we'll do it. It's not because they feel pressure from the fans. That can be the case, maybe. But usually it's because they see it as a good idea or something that they want to do to show that they value the fans and whatnot. And that's fantastic when it happens that way, when it's all very civil. Uh, but when you start getting into the kind of toxic fandoms that I've been talking about, it's no. People that are doing this, you're giving a bad name to everybody. To the point that I've kind of stopped saying that I'm a fan of a lot of things. Because again, I don't want to be lumped in with that sort of person. Those sorts of people that do stuff like this. So that's going to be it for this episode of Depraved Indifference. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you like what I'm doing, please give that like button a tap. Give that subscribe button a tap as well if you haven't already, so you can be kept apprised of when I do new videos. And throw a comment in the comment section. What do you think about toxic fandoms and whatnot? Now, this is a volatile issue. This is the sort of thing that can result in raised tempers. So if you are going to be doing comments, please keep it civil. If I see any horrible stuff going on in the comments of this video or any others, I reserve the right fully to just not allow those comments to go up or to delete them if I feel necessary. And I know there's lots of people saying, oh, free speech, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work that way. Check your laws. Free speech only works because it's the government that's not allowed to censor you. I'm not the government. I'm just a Canadian guy who has a YouTube channel. And if I want to delete comments because I don't feel they are appropriate, that's my prerogative. Because, as I mentioned, you are not entitled to get anything from me. So if you're going to be a dick, I can be a dick too. But that's going to be it, as I said, for this episode. So do all that. And until next time, my friends, you all take care, and I'll see you around.